Okay, it's now time for our first presentation, project-based learning as a learning complex, nurturing future-ready graduates in vocational education. And the presenters are Dr. Alice Cheung and Dr. Helen from Youth College of the Vocational Training Council. Dr. Cheung is a seasoned educator with over 30 years of experience. She's well known for her work in teachers' professionalism and leadership training. Dr. To's research interest lies in teacher collaboration and professional development. She has worked for several teachers' continuous professional development projects in Hong Kong over the past 18 years. So if you have any question, please type them in the chat box. We'll address these questions in a question and answer sections. Okay, so Dr. Chen and Dr. To, the time is for you now.
Thank you, Chris. Good morning, everyone. I'm Alice Cheung from the Youth College of BTC, and then sitting beside me is Dr. Helen To. We are going to talk about project-based learning as learning compass, nurturing future-ready graduates in vocational education. So we will divide this presentation into two parts, and Dr. Helen To will start first. So Helen, over to you.
Thank you, Alice. Well, good morning, everyone. So for the first part of the presentation, I'm just going to go through a little bit of the basic framework of our presentation today, and then into introducing our project-based learning project, which then I'll pass to Dr. Alice here, who is the team leader of our project. So she will give us more details and more sharing about what we have done in Youth College. Well, to start off, building on what we have already discussed this morning, what do we actually mean by future ready? So we've been thinking and shaping our project and implementation, and then we were thinking, what should we share today? What is it about? The future of teaching and learning. And what do we mean by having a future-ready graduate or a student? Does it mean they have to have certain knowledge or skills that prepare them for the future? Does it mean, as Solana was actually sharing about, futures literacy? So should there be something that our students hold to be ready for their future? And if so, as educators, what should we do, to prepare them better for their future? In our agenda today, we'll start off by introducing the framework, a framework background of using the OECD Learning Compass 2030. And this is a framework that we have correlate to our project-based learning project in Youth College. And that is our hope to share some insights for all of you that how project-based learning could actually act and serve as a learning compass to prepare our students ready for the future. So in part two, which I'll then pass on to Alice, and she will share with you our experience of the project-based learning in Youth College. And for the last part, we'll then argue how PBL could actually serve as the learning compass to prepare our students. So to start off, what is actually, OECD Learning Compass? As some of you may know, OECD is actually a organization which is, an international organization that always, sort of promote certain education policy or concepts which prepare, for the economic development and social development. And it is a project that they have started in 2019 called the Future of Education and Skills 2030. And it actually sort of, shares some insight and aspiration of direction for educators to sort of, develop how the education framework should be to prepare students and prepare the society for the coming 10 years. So the idea of learning compass, as we know, a compass is the metaphor that they have used to sort of emphasize the need for students to learn to navigate by themselves through unfamiliar contexts and to find a direction in a meaningful and responsible way. So it is something that they should hold on their hand, you know, to guide their ways into their future. And according to OECD, the compass sort of looks like this, and it consists of several elements. For the core foundation, if you see here, it consists of knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values as all sort of competencies to you know, build up the students' foundation. And on the outside, they have a anticipation, action, reflection cycle. So you see it is a cycle of a process, of a learning process that actually happens continuously and repeatedly for the students to consolidate their learning of skills and knowledge in the core foundation. And by that, they could actually develop something named the transformative competencies. And these transformative competencies could be defined as creating new value, reconciling tensions and dilemmas, and taking responsibility. So according to OECD Learning Compass, these are some of the skills a student should hold in order to be ready for the future. So they could actually, you know, when they face a complex and uncertain situation, they could learn how to resolve the problems. They could learn to take their own responsibility, and they could, you know, innovate and create new ideas to learn how to cope with new and uncertain situations. So you see at the side here, we have a student holding the compass, himself or herself, by meaning as agency. So the person, the student himself or herself should hold the compass on their hand and to get ready for their future. But does it mean they are alone? It's not the case, because in, you know, we can see some more little figures next to the student. We have teachers, we have parents, peers, or even the whole communities who will actually support the students to, you know, to guide them and to support them to, you know, to walk in their pathways. So you see the whole concept of this learning compass is the framework that could, you know, inspire us or might help us to, you know, figure out some of the vision for the future of our education. And it definitely defines the knowledge, skills, attitude, and values the students would need to fulfill their potential and to contribute to the well-being of their communities. And you see that by, you know, emphasizing this learning compass, we know that learning is actually intrinsic, and it actually does not only happen in schools, but it's more like to prepare them for, you know, their future work or future study, and to become a future well-being in the community. So this compass, what actually is this compass that leads to success? If so, what can we do? You know, how do we pass on, or how do we build up this compass to our students? How do we help them to, you know, get this compass? Well, in the following, we actually want to share how project-based learning in youth college could, you know, have an impact and have a sort of correlation between with the learning idea of learning compass, and to help our students to, you know, become future ready and holding this compass to walk their pathways. And there are 3 elements that we would introduce in the following. The first one is the core values and skills. And the second one is the idea about students' agency and co-agency. And the third concept is the anticipation, action, reflection cycle. And we'll explain how these 3 features could be found and have been implemented in the PBL project in YC, so that project-based learning could be considered as a learning compass to our students. So back to the context, what is youth college? For some of you that may know or may not know us, youth college is actually a vocational college in Hong Kong. And we train students for future work in the industry or some for their further study. Some of the programs that we offer are in trade subjects, so probably more hands-on practices and skills, for example, automobile, aircraft maintenance, fashion design, hotel and services, etc. And the starting point of our PBL project was actually because more and more employers were hoping for more work-ready graduates. So in other words, they are not only asking for, graduates with the knowledge and skills, but more likely they hope to have students with, better soft skills, better communication skills, problem-solving skills. So all sorts of skills that would make them ready, for work and for their future. Therefore, starting from 2018 September, we have developed a whole approach of PBL implementation to develop students with their core knowledge and skills and try to equip them with these transformative competencies for them to thrive in the 21st century. Well, up till now, we have over 4,500 full-time YC students who have already experienced PBL. And it has been a very amazing experience, which then I'll pass on to Dr. Alistair, who is the team leader of our PBL project in YC, to share with you more about this project. So Dr. Alistair.
Thank you, Helen. So let me continue. So what do we mean? What do we mean by PBL? What do we mean by PBL? Actually, it is more than doing a project. As mentioned by Helen just now, it is an approach to give students the opportunity to develop knowledge and skills through engaging projects set around challenges and problems they may face in the real world. So it is authentic and related to the real world. And according to Buck Institute for Education, students will investigate and respond to an authentic, engaging, and complex problem or challenge with deep and sustained attention. So PBL, project-based learning in the youth college, contains 3 features. So first of all, these 3 features will allow us to hold students accountable, to hold students for the competence that they need. So first one is collaboration with industry. We set our projects in the context of the need of the industry and with our industry partners. And the second feature is we use a collaborative delivery approach. In a minute, I will explain more. And then 3, we also adopt a structured reflective learning cycle. So what do we mean by collaboration with industry? In this sense, we have the authentic context. We know the real problem, we know the market, we know the industry need. Students will be able to make use of the trade knowledge and skills that they have learned and put it into application. And then the second feature is the collaborative delivery approach. In the interest of student agency and co-agency, which means that we are gathering different teaching teams to co-deliver project-based learning so that students will have opportunity to interact with their peers, with their teachers, with the communities, so that they can acquire the skills, the competencies needed for their future. And structured reflective learning cycle, students have to go through this anticipation, action, and reflection cycle. This means they are going to acquire the core foundations of the skills through the collaboration with industry, and they are going to go through this student agency and co-agency platform so that they can be prepared for the future. And then the cycle of anticipation, action, and reflection can be realized. So what do we mean by collaboration with industry? We have industry's input, but for students to design their driving questions using design thinking skills, getting advice on project development, and then the industry partners will be invited to give students feedback when they give their public demonstration, their presentation of the project. Take for example, our students, one of the projects that our students are doing is smart using a smart home device. So how do we cater for the needs of the elderly with chronic diseases? Students will have to go through the topic, design the topic, researching the topic, and then come up with a product. So one product you can see from the picture on the right-hand side here, you can see is a smart home device, which allows elderly people to measure their blood pressure, their pulse, and also different needs, which the information can be sent to the elderly center. So on the left-hand side here, you can see that our students has actually won the prize in doing this project. So there are different projects. Just to quote some more examples, students may be developing different products with, in different programs, like designing and creating theater makeup character, proposal for operational improvement at the hotel, or even organizing different events. So these are just some of the examples. Then after doing these projects, they will go through competition with public showcase, using the authentic programs and collaboration in the product. So the second one, collaborative delivery approach. So what do we mean by collaborative delivery approach? In this sense, we have at least three teaching teams in motion. First of all, on the left-hand side here, we have the computing and mathematics teacher and trade teachers with trade knowledge, English teacher with the language skills. These three teaching teams put their focus on the students' interests and their need while they are responsible for different parts of the skills. And at the same time, this approach is providing students with the different opportunities to interact with different people with different experience and different expertise, which allows them to acquire the skills that they need and the competencies they need for the future. And then thirdly, the third feature is the structured reflective learning cycle. So every learning is carefully structured, starting from year 1, year 2, year 3. So in our program, students will go through a 3-year training. So in year 1, we start with mini projects, which builds students' fundamental core competencies with building block of understanding and building their competence. However, they still have to go through the anticipation, action, and reflection cycle, even if they are in year 1 mini projects. And in year two, we have a project skills module in which students will exhibit different competencies through the collaborative delivery approach. And then in year 3, they need to perform their final year project by the application of knowledge, of their trained knowledge in order to deepen their understanding. In this sense, students will be trained, will be provided with the opportunity in different landscapes from year 1 to year 2 and year 3 in order to acquire, we call it transformative competence for the future. So this approach has been implemented for 3 years as a cycle, and this is, in fact, this year is our 4th year of implementation. I would like to share a little bit of our students' views and teacher skills. Over the years, we have conducted quantitative and qualitative feedback from both teachers and students. On a scale of 1 to 10, their satisfaction rate on their project-based learning experience range from 7/7 to over 8 points. So we have received a high satisfaction rate from both the teachers and students in the project-based learning. And qualitatively, we also conducted some focus group interviews. So in the interest of time, I'm just sharing some of our students' feedback now in the form of this short video. So let's hear their voice. Can you hear? Can you hear?
今次做 project 嘅得着咧，我覺得
Yes, we
係
can
可以
hear
揾
you.
到同埋學習其他組員嘅長處啦。咁喺分配工作上面就按照唔同人所擅長嘅領域去分工嘅，之後就互相交流同埋學習。
我哋喺 project 入邊咧都有啲地方其實做得唔好㗎，例如咧喺資料搜集同埋系統設計上面做得唔夠全面啦。但係透過老師喺隔離嘅指導同埋鼓勵我哋大膽嘗試，我哋最後咧都可以完成一份由自己設計嘅設計圖。
我覺得喺呢個 project 入面學得到將以前學過嘅嘢會用翻出嚟嘅技巧，大家分工合作做出嚟仲會事半功倍，同埋做完出嚟個成品都好有滿足感嘅。
咁喺呢個過程入面咧，完全可以發現到我哋嘅解決難題嘅能力，同埋提升我哋嘅自主學習能力。
我哋希望再進一步學習同機械工程相近行業嘅知識或者技術，可以令我哋更進一步了解機械工程嘅知識同埋運用方法。
今次 project 嘅經驗係相當之有用嘅，咁喺工作過程當中可以培養到組員嘅默契啦，亦都有助可以提升我哋團隊嘅運作效率。
做完呢個 project 之後，我覺得我自己都有個自我改進嘅地方。我認為我喺面對唔同行業嘅管理層都可以自信咁樣面對，去提出行業入邊嘅營運問題。遇到困難嘅時候，我哋要互相幫助去尋找最佳嘅解決方案。
Okay. As the interviews were conducted in students' mother tongue, so let me just recap a little bit their feedback. They find it very satisfying for the opportunity for information searching skills that they have acquired, trained knowledge and skills that they have learned can be put into practice and application. And also they have acquired the problem solving skills in different contexts. That is, they can resolve conflicts as well. And they also polish their teamwork skill, as well as they have the autonomy to make their decision, to make their choice in how the project is conducted. So in this sense, students have a sense of satisfaction and at the same time leading to their personal growth. And we would say that this would be ready to prepare them for their future as well through this project-based learning. So PBL as the learning compass is a way that we think to go to help students to use their knowledge, skills, applied attitudes and values so that they can act in coherent and responsible ways that can change the future for the better. And another point is it allows them to grow their competency so that they can update and apply their knowledge and deepen their understanding in the program that they have been learning. And mobilization of knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values to meet complex demands in situations, especially of uncertainty and complexity in the future. And the collaborative delivery approach allows students as student agency and co-agency, they can learn, they can grow and exercise their agency in social context as illustrated in the collaborative delivery approach. At the same time, they can interact with peers, teachers, families, and communities whom guide them towards well-being. Students can also orient themselves as they exercise their sense of purpose and responsibility. And this structured reflective learning cycle is very powerful, which allows students to learn, to grow, because it is an iterative learning process. And students can acquire adaptability, reflectivity during the project-based learning from project design, research, presentation, and reflections. The planning, the experience, and reflection students can also deepen their understanding and widen their perspective. In other words, this cycle, project-based learning, can serve as a catalyst for development of transformative competencies that students need in the future. So what do we mean by future ready for success? How do we do that? Let me just recap a few key points. Application of trained knowledge and skills provides students with a sense of purpose and meaningfulness. Student agency and co-agency provides students with a platform to build up their confidence in social interactions while preparing for the future complexity and challenges in the future. Anticipation, action, reflection cycle provides them with an opportunity to grow with mindset change, with their capability, with their mindset, with their mental health with different skills. So in other words, these transformative competencies will be able to allow them to excel in the future and to become future-ready graduates. So project-based learning as learning compass in vocational context with the 3 features that we have just shared, such as collaboration with industry, collaborative delivery, approach, structured reflective learning cycle will allow students to acquire the transformative competencies that they need in the future, such as developing a sense of themselves and a sense of purpose, adapt to the future challenges, and helping building a future world of their need. So this is what we have done, and we would like to share in today's presentation. So, your questions are most welcome. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Dr. Cheung and Dr. Zhou for your presentation. The floor is now open for the question and answer section. So if you have any question, you can type them in the chat box, or you can simply turn on your camera and use a microphone to ask your questions. Please feel free to ask. Yes, the first question is, are they helpful? From Robin, I guess.
About assessment, graded assessment. So for PPL, the question here is, where do graded assessments fit in? And are the assessments helpful?
Okay, sorry, thank you.
Thank you, Cecilia. Thank you very much for your question. Yes, we do guide students through a step-by-step approach in doing the assessment, from project planning, from searching for information, and then students will have to do a report back in their group and also report back to the whole class. And then finally, their assessment result and the weighting and the marks will be conducted both on an individual and group basis. And in this way, students find it motivating, first of all, because they are the one who decide the timeline, what they need to do, and then they have the confidence to report back. So in a way that can build up their confidence, while if there are different feedback, different views in their group, they will have to negotiate. They will have to exercise their student agency role, and in order to achieve better results in the project. Yeah. So to us, as we the feedback collected, students and both students and teachers find it motivating in this way and encouraging this way. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. So will there be any more questions?
If you don't mind, may I ask a question? First of all, thank you very much, Dr. Cheung and Dr. To, for your very interesting talk. It sounds like a really big and valuable project. I wanted to ask about reflections. I noticed that reflection is a key component of this project. So how do you train, or do you need to train students to reflect? What do you do about this part of the project? This reflective cycle, you said guided, right? So how do you guide students?
Yeah, okay, thank you for your question. First of all, we guide students from the beginning. They start with a review on what is needed with the society, with the industry, with the market that is related to the program that they are studying. They will identify a problem that they are interested in solving the problem. So during this process, they have to go through to this reflective thinking, because what is needed, what is more urgent, and they have to take priority. So this is one way of starting with this reflection. And then in the process, they will divine into different parts. They have to go through this work division among themselves because students have to take care of their group project, and they divide their work tasks in different parts. And then again, they will report back to their group mates. In the first round, when they report back, their classmates, their group mates will give them feedback, how well they are doing and what is needed, what needs more, what needs to eliminate, what needs less. And then they have to come up with this agreement, consensus. So again, students doing it individually and as a group in this reflection process. And then at the end, when they conduct the presentation or a proposal or a report, they have to go through this peer feedback. They will evaluate, we don't say evaluate, okay? They will tell one another what needs improving and what can be done better instead of saying evaluating. So again, they are reflecting themselves in a way of individual learning, group performance. And also in the process of project-based learning, as we mentioned just now, there are co-agencies. Teachers from different teaching teams will provide feedback, and individual groups, other groups of students in the same class will also provide feedback for them. So in a way, the whole class of whether you are a teacher, whether you are a learner, whether you are a member of the whole community will go through this anticipation, action, reflection process. And then we believe when they reflect, they learn. When they learn, they grow. When they grow, they contribute to making a better world of the future. I hope this can answer your questions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cheung.